Hello, bro. Japan is a country that often attracts attention because of its people's habits, and its culture remains preserved, sometimes sparking curiosity. Therefore, here we will discuss facts about Japan that showcase its identity and set it apart from other nations, some of which are considered normal in Japan but taboo in other countries. Age of consent. The term age of consent refers to the legal ability of a woman to agree or refuse to engage in intimate relations. The concept is based on the idea that a person is already an adult and has the capacity to give consent. This age limit varies across countries. For example, in the United States, it ranges from 16 to 18 years old depending on the state. In England and South Korea, the permitted age is 16. In France, it's 15, while in China, Germany, and Italy, it is 14. In Indonesia, the age of consent is not specifically regulated. Article 287 of the Criminal Code only states that children under 15 are prohibited from engaging in intimate relations. Japan, however, uses the age of 13 as its legal benchmark, defined as the age at which a person is considered capable of consenting to intimate activity, and such consent is legally valid. Those under this age are legally regarded as victims of sexual abuse or rape. Japan's Ministry of Justice has considered raising the age to 16, but pressure has also increased, especially from the Flower Demo movement, which argues that outdated attitudes in parliament have cornered victims, and that minors should not be treated as adults. Marrying cousins. Marrying a cousin is not prohibited by religion, but it is widely known that marrying close relatives, including first cousins, carries a higher risk of congenital defects. Therefore, it's no surprise that many countries make it illegal, as is the case in 24 US states. However, 20 other states and the District of Columbia allow it. Interestingly, in Japan, cousin marriages remain lasting due to reasons of inheritance and tradition. People living in the village of Ainokura are proud of their royal heritage and do not wish to taint their bloodline by mingling with commoners. Likewise, residents of the village of Kurat Ani refuse to marry outsiders to protect the secrecy of their traditional papermaking techniques. Historical events and natural disasters such as fires, floods, and famines have also influenced marriage patterns in Japanese villages, as few people entered or left during such times. Although still legal, cousin marriage in Japan has sharply declined since around 1967. Defamation. A UNESCO publication titled World Trends in Freedom of Expression and Media Development stated that by 2012, at least 21 countries had fully decriminalized defamation, and 14 had decriminalized written libel. In 2014, Herlambang Perdana Wirat-Rahman, in his doctoral dissertation at Leiden University, noted that 50 countries had removed defamation laws entirely. He also told Tempo that the UN had recommended abolishing defamation laws. But in Japan, instead of abolishing it, the government has tightened its laws. On June 30th, 2022, Japan amended its criminal code so that online insults can result in up to 1 year in prison or a fine of 300,000 yen, as reported by CNN. This is stricter than the previous rule, where offenders could only be jailed for less than 30 days or fined 10,000 yen. This revision was controversial, with opposition parties arguing it could stifle freedom of expression and criticism of those in power. Strict smoking regulations. This is good news for non-smokers, but not so pleasant for active smokers. Japan has strict rules regarding smoking, especially in public spaces. Don't be surprised if you see officers patrolling to enforce these rules, which include banning smoking in public areas and imposing fines of up to 500,000 yen. The revised law began in stages in January 2019 and was fully enforced on April 1st, 2020. Many public places in Japan now strictly implement the ban, though special smoking areas have been built. Smoking is only allowed in designated areas that meet certain facility standards, and people under 20 are prohibited from entering smoking areas even if they have no intention to smoke. Celebrating nudity. Natural hot springs known as onsen are famous worldwide and can be public or private. For Japanese people, these mineral-rich waters heated by volcanic activity are a luxury. Here, all generations and professions mingle without regard to social background. Removing clothing is symbolic of shedding social status, even if only temporarily. Public baths Sento introduce children to a rare world where nudity is accepted rather than shamed. Every shape, scar, and stretch mark from childbirth or obesity is left uncovered. French expatriate Stéphane Rouen, now living in Tokyo, told the BBC, "Everyone has their imperfections, and as far as I know, this is the only place where no one cares." Seeing intimacy as sacred. While in many places discussing intimacy is taboo, in Japan it is regarded as something sacred. Although not as open as Westerners, the Japanese view intimacy as a form of procreation and a symbol of fertility. This is reflected in ancient traditions and festivals featuring phallic statues, such as the Honen Matsuri and Kanemaru Matsuri. There's also the Onda Matsuri, the oldest fertility festival in Japan with public intimacy rituals at the Asukanimasu Shrine, which features stone statues of male and female genitalia. Japan also has shrines dedicated to female breasts, such as Ryan-ji, known as Mama Cannon, in Aichi and Jisonin in Kuroyama, Wakayama, where countless breast-shaped charms and statues are displayed. Another example is the Ososo Matsuri, literally meaning the Vagina Festival. Geisha as artists. We can all agree that geisha or geiko are inseparable from Japan's identity. Unfortunately, many people misunderstand geisha as sex workers, which is incorrect. Geisha are not prostitutes, do not always wear thick white makeup, and are not always women. They are traditional artists and entertainers in Japan, often playing stringed instruments or performing dances, sometimes of their own creation. Becoming a geisha is not easy. They must train for years, mastering music and dance, often for 5 years or more, before they can call themselves geisha. They are hired to entertain male guests, sometimes alongside high-class courtesans known as oiran. While waiting for the oiran, geisha perform music, dance, and flirt to keep the guests entertained. These are some unique aspects of Japan, some of which might be considered taboo in other countries. Which fact do you find the most unique about Japan? Write it in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.